All right, and we're live. So welcome back to Dapp University. So today I've got a lot to talk about. Lots happened since yesterday's live stream. A lot to update you on. Today we're going to talk about a piece of news that's really good for Ethereum. It's got to do with this crazy NFT trend that's been taking off. That's bringing a ton of attention to the Ethereum ecosystem, even more than DeFi. I mean, I think this is one of the big use cases that can really help this space take off for just normal people who don't really think about cryptocurrency that much. All right, talk about that, why it's so important today. As a blockchain developer who works the Ethereum protocol on a daily basis, people ask me why I talk about Ethereum so much. Well, that's pretty much just what I do day in, day out, and that's what. That's the space that I watch like a hawk. So before we get into that, if you're on here, hey, I'm Gregory, and on this channel, I turn you into a blockchain master. So if that's something that you're interested in, then smash that like button down below for the YouTube algorithm and subscribe to this channel. And if you want to learn how to become a blockchain master step by step from start to finish, then head on over to dappuniversity.com/bootcamp to get started today. All right, so we got people jumping in the chat here. We've got Ethan, Legacy, Stefan, Cahoon. Is it Cahoon or is it Cajun? Josh, Fame, Mathis, Stefan, Ian, awesome. Welcome. Sorry if I mispronounced anybody's name there. That was just a really quick go with the chat list here. So the first big piece of news that I want to talk about today, which is really good for Ethereum, right? That's the thing that I want to drive home here, is another prominent NFT collection going on sale at Christie's. Okay, so earlier this year, let's just see here. I pulled up this story. You might have heard of the Beeple art collection that went on sale at Christie's. Okay, let's just see it here. That sold for $69 million. So this was a story that broke all over the place, right? It was in New York Times. All right, this was a digital art collection that this entire thing was $69 million. Huge. Sold as NFTs. Okay, so of course, New York Times likes the headline, JPEG file sells for $69 million, et cetera. And a lot of people get into debates on whether NFTs are actually valuable. Like, why would anybody pay money for this type of stuff? Regardless of where you side on this debate, the bottom line is this was a major milestone for the Ethereum space. And now we're seeing a round two for Christie's, but we're actually seeing CryptoPunks listed on Christie's. Okay. So this is a big deal for a couple reasons. One, this was, one of the OG NFT collectibles on top of Ethereum that is, I guess it's really crypto native if you want to think about it in the sense of, this is art that's valued by the crypto community highly, right? It's not really something that it's hard to say. I'm not doing very good justice, doing very much justice to the explanation here. But the idea is, this is something really early, really special that no one ever thought they would see going to Christie's. All right, this is something that people were claiming for free many years ago. We started trading it on an OpenSea exchange. The value went up really high from there. Much to many people's surprise, and now this is the next step, because it's going into more mainstream, right? And basically people who are doing things at Christie's are able to buy these CryptoPunks. So this is a huge deal. So if you want to learn more about the CryptoPunks project itself, what is it? So it began as an experiment, just like we were talking about. These things were listed and people were basically just claiming them for free in the early days back in 2017. Okay. So this is in the last bull run. Right before the kind of big blow off top happened, that marked the top of the last cycle before we had this multi-year bear market. They were inspired by the London punk scene. Okay, you can go through this article and kind of see about their origins, what they were, what the original idea behind their project was, and how it sort of became the project that it is today. This sort of early piece of Ethereum history and art that's now going on sale at Christie's. It's pretty crazy. So this is huge validation, again, just for the medium itself. So many people are arguing, why does digital art even matter? Why do NFTs matter? Can't I just right-click, save this? Why would it matter if I own the digital rights to this in the blockchain? Of course, we see that sentiment here kind of implied in the New York Times headline, JPEG sells for $69 million as NFT mania gathers pace. So I'll let you all duke that one out in the comment section down below in the chat on whether you think this is, silly or if NFTs actually do have value. But either way you fall on that side, or either side you fall on that debate, this is a massive deal for ETH. and people watching digital art, what's been happening on Ethereum, and the ability to buy this particular NFT that rests only on Ethereum at Christie's. So we can talk more about NFTs here in a minute. There's some other developments in that space that are pretty important for you all to know about. Of course, NFTs are the use case, in my opinion, that has taken a lot of the crypto technology itself into more of the mainstream awareness than DeFi has right now. It's sort of outpaced DeFi and bubbling up into the popular awareness, because I've had people who don't really do crypto, don't really do DeFi or anything like that. I've had more people reach out to me personally and say, hey, what's this NFT thing, than anything about DeFi, yield farming, decentralized derivatives or anything like that, right? So it's a huge deal. And that's just a sort of a simple heuristic that I use to kind of determine what's bubbling up into the popular culture, among many others, but that's just one that comes to mind. So let's go ahead and look at the crypto markets here. So let's see what's going on with the prices. So yeah, things are about what I've been saying all week, which is the markets have been kind of boring. Okay, this happens in crypto, especially here at the top. Not at the top. I don't mean the top of the market. I mean the top of the list and the top 10. Let me just pull up my screen here so you guys can see. So yeah, things are pretty boring right now. We've seen kind of a lot of sideways chop. I know we've seen some kind of fast pullbacks or fast corrections. Let's see, over the past week or so. And we saw some of these things that get people worried whenever they happen. But if you look at the big picture, it's a lot of mostly sideways chop. I mean, if you go back on the 30-day, yeah, I mean, that's, if you were to look at the 30-day here, it looks slightly bearish, but to me, the big picture is still sideways chop. Okay, for something like Bitcoin, stuff like Ethereum, we've seen some gains in DeFi for sure. Right, we've I think one token that I was watching too. Let's see here. That didn't actually come up on the chart right now. That's okay. I'll pass on that for now. But yeah, as always, not a big TA guy, not a big trader. Just like to look at the stuff that I'm personally invested in, say, what's happening. I'm a long-term holder for sure. I don't chase a lot of short-term opportunities. I do some, but not in a big material way for as far as like trading cryptocurrencies goes. DeFi is a different story, but as far as the overall cryptocurrency market goes, I'm not always trying to chase the short-term pumps. I'm mostly just look at the big picture here. So another tool that I like to look at is chain analysis. So we can pull up Glassnode to kind of get a picture of what's happening in the Bitcoin markets, because I do think that that's still a pretty good indicator of the overall market direction, the overall market health, et cetera, et cetera. One of the metrics I look at pretty frequently on this channel, I like to explain it in case people don't understand it, is the Nupal metric. So that's the net unrealized profit and loss of the Bitcoin network, because I think it still makes sense. Like, while Bitcoin is still the #1 market cap cryptocurrency, it's still a pretty good gauge of what the market is thinking, okay? Especially in this cryptocurrency bull run, when, the data seems to be that institutions have a big responsibility in the direction that we're headed overall, okay? A lot of them are buying primarily Bitcoin, okay? They're buying other things too, but institutional adoption is happening primarily in Bitcoin as a store of value. So that's another good reason that it's important to use Bitcoin as sort of like a litmus test for what's going on in the markets here. So one of the on-chain metrics that I like to look at is net unrealized profit and loss. And I like to explain this to you guys too. On-chain metrics, one of the reasons I like it better than TA is, one, I'm not really super skilled at TA, so I don't try to, I don't try to step too far out of my lane with that one. I can do basic TA stuff. I just don't like it. There's plenty of people you can follow who are way better at TA than me. But I do like to look at on-chain data, because I think a lot of these deliver powerful insights, because that's one of the cool things about blockchain is you can verify everything that's happening on the ledger itself. You can see what people's balances are. You can see when they acquired their cryptocurrency. Are they selling it? Are they holding it? How long have they held it for? What percentage of the entire network is holding onto this cryptocurrency? What percentage of the network is selling? What percentage is selling, moving to exchanges, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So to me, on-chain metrics are big. So one of the big metrics that I like to look at, actually derived insight from this, is the net unrealized profit and loss. So basically, without getting into the weeds on how it works, basically big pictures, you want to look at for blue territory, and blue is bad. So blue usually indicates some sort of long-term, top. So we're moving away from blue. We're trending away from blue, which is good. And part of this has to do with how the prices work whenever people buy and sell. So whenever losses are incurred, basically when the market gets the type of chop that we've seen lately, it gives us more headroom in this metric. So it's a net unrealized profit and loss. So when you have more loss, it basically gives you more room to ride. And this is the line right here that indicates euphoria. So 0.75, we want to kind of stay away from that, assuming that we have some sort of, blow off top for this market cycle. It would start to look like that was happening once you cross that line, and we're moving away from it, so that's awesome. All right, so let's look at let's go back to NFTs for a minute, because one thing I do want to talk about, I mentioned this some in the video yesterday, but let me just pull it up here. Go check out the video I put out yesterday. If you're interested in NFTs or you're just interested in blockchain technology and how this can take off and how people can actually use it. Because I put out a really important video about scaling for NFTs. And one project I'm super excited about on that is for Immutable. So it's a layer 2 purpose built for NFTs, all right? And I think this is critical for NFT adoption because we can use NFTs for lots of other things besides just CryptoPunks and digital artworks and crypto kitties, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. I think the vision for NFTs is to do more with that. We can do things like concert tickets. We can do things like, business contracts, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And maybe the ERC 721 standard is not the best thing for all those purposes, but there's still the whole point is that we can use smart contract to represent other types of scarce digital agreements, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, that can be used on the blockchain, okay? And one thing that's holding that back for sure for wider adoption is gas fees, okay, on Ethereum. So it's expensive to do things in layer 1. That's one reason I'm so excited about layer 2 is it builds a second layer on top of Ethereum that basically lets more people, basically solves that problem. It makes it cheaper to use. It drives security from the base Ethereum chain. And Immutable is one project that's doing this purpose-built for NFTs. So if you want to create lower value NFTs, like some people don't care if they're spending like $50,000 on a CryptoPunk. I mean, that's what's happened whenever we found out that CryptoPunks were getting listed on Christie's. The price of CryptoPunks went up like crazy, okay? So I can't remember, I wasn't tracking the price. I saw it floating around Twitter, but it went up significantly in just one day after the news that collection was getting sold. So it doesn't matter if you're to pay $50 in gas fees to acquire CryptoPunk, $100 in gas fees if you're spending $50,000 to buy one. Now, vast majority of people aren't doing that for sure. And so if you want to do things like concert tickets, let's say a concert ticket costs you, I don't know, $20 or something like that. You don't want to pay $20 in gas to acquire that or move it around. But with something like this, right? Which this is still more for like gaming and traditional NFTs. But I'm thinking down the road here. If you want to buy lower value NFTs, you want to have cheap transactions, and that's exactly what this enables you to do. So let's think away from like concert tickets, et cetera, et cetera. Other things are like gaming, okay? So think about like, if you were to have in-game assets and you wanted to have those on the blockchain, well, you could take the assets out of the game, okay? The game doesn't own them anymore. It's on a blockchain. Now it's, public. It's on neutral infrastructure. It's not an in-game asset anymore. It's an out-game asset. But the origin is from the game itself. So that's another use case that I think is pretty likely to take off, especially as these transactions become cheaper and it becomes easier to use. Easier to use for people. Basically reduces the friction for people to do that in their applications. So this is a project that's enables to do that. I'm super excited about it. So another thing to think about as a major milestone that we crossed recently with the cryptocurrency markets. I gotta look at the current statistics here. Yeah, we did. Okay, so another major milestone we crossed recently. I can't remember when the first time was, but the overall cryptocurrency market cap has crossed $2 trillion. Okay, so this is a huge deal. You know, it was a big deal when cryptocurrency markets first crossed $1 trillion. That was not that long ago. Now we've doubled again to $2 trillion. Okay. So I think that one of the next major milestones for sure is going to be whenever Bitcoin crosses that, $2 trillion market cap or something like that. Yeah. Or actually, yeah, if we see ETH creep up to 1 trillion, I think that's going to be pretty epic too. Yeah, I don't like to make too many promises about what's going to happen, but yeah, I think that'd be pretty crazy. But anyways, 2 trillion is a huge deal. I think trillions are really important psychological numbers for people to determine, to communicate magnitude. When something is $1 trillion, you have to kind of take it seriously. I think we see more and more of that every time we cross another $1 trillion mark, assuming that this market continues to take off. It's gonna be big. Yeah. So wanted to pause, call that out, and put it on your radar to watch out for the next one. So another thing to think about, keep on your radar. Of course, we've been talking about the Coinbase IPO happening really soon. Let's just see here. The Coinbase IPO happening on, I believe it's April 14th. We're talking about the impact this could have on the cryptocurrency markets. There's some more news that I saw yesterday that is related to this. All right. Some people are thinking that, hey, maybe the Coinbase IPO will be good for the crypto markets. Maybe people who are exiting at IPO with the direct listing are going to rotate into crypto. Maybe that'll make crypto pump. I'm not using that information as financial advice. I'm not using it as like trying to chase a short-term opportunity or anything like that. I think it's a likely scenario, but not financial advice. I don't know. I've seen opinions all directions. It's going to be good for crypto markets. It's going to be bad for crypto markets. It's going to basically do nothing. We'll see. But one other important piece of news that I want to bring up here is Kraken. Okay, so gosh, getting ads here. So so many ads. Bitcoin exchange Kraken considers going public after record trading volumes in first quarter. And I think also the subtext there is after Coinbase decides to go public. So Kraken is considering going public via direct listing in 2022 after Bitcoin's rally led to recording. Anyways, this is something to keep watching out for too. This looks like a trend. Okay, exchanges going public. So then they talk about the Coinbase listing down here. You can read through the whole article if you want to, and the NFT boom, et cetera, et cetera. But this is another one to watch out for your radar. It looks like, it's not confirmed, and it looks like it won't be till next year. But, hey, this is a trend to watch out for sure. And I think it's overall good for crypto. Even if we don't see major effect on the prices in the short term, I think long term, just having publicly traded companies that are crypto exchanges are good for the whole space. So another thing to think about with the cryptocurrency markets is if you look at the top 100, people have been talking about this quite a bit, the market caps of the top 100 cryptocurrencies. Let's see if this is true anymore. At one point, yeah, this is a big deal. So another big milestone is, we crossed this $2 trillion market cap here, but if you look at the top 100, every coin in the top 100 is now worth over $1 billion, okay, in terms of market cap. So that means all the cryptocurrencies currently in circulation, that entire set of cryptos is worth $1 billion, okay? Of course, Bitcoin is the leader here, but that's big. That was not the case, not even close to the case 6 months ago, all right? Not even close to the case a year ago. Not even close to the case 3 months ago. But yeah, it's big valuations. So let's see here. Got some questions in the chat. Somebody's talking about wanted to take some of the programs here. Is MacBook Air good enough for building a Dapp on ETH, or the MacBook Pro better? So the MacBook Pro will be better. In terms of, I think the MacBook Air will be fine. Of course, the Pro will be better. But I would say just start with what you have now, unless you have a really compelling reason to get something else. Like maybe you just want to get a different computer and you have the money and it's not an issue to you financially, then great, do it. But my short answer is always, any computer running Mac, Windows, Linux made in the last 5 years should be able to do just fine. I mean, you're not trying to do like intense video or like graphic editing. I'm also assuming you're not trying to run like any high performance blockchain infrastructure in your computer, like, run a node that has to use like a terabyte of disk space or anything like that. Unless you have a really good reason to do that, I would not recommend doing that. Somebody says getting taxed on my crypto sucks. It does suck. So what do you think ETH scaling, or when do I think ETH scaling will occur? So the good news is layer 2 scaling is already happening now. It's just being more widely distributed. You can go use layer 2s right now on the Ethereum network. They're kind of in their early release phases. I think summer is going to be a much better time for more wide layer 2 adoption. Again, this goes back to what I was talking about earlier, where layer 2 scaling essentially is building a second layer on top of the base Ethereum blockchain right now and doing a lot of computation on that layer that derives its security from the layer 1 Ethereum. Okay, we've seen some pushes towards layer 2 scaling that are probably going to get moved back towards the summer. That's why I think summer is going to be a better time to really experience layer 2 scaling in full force. I'm going to go back to my original prediction, though, still stick by it, that I made in January, which is I still believe that 2021 at the end we'll see wide adoption of layer 2 technology on Ethereum applications. And also an important thing to keep in mind is we'll have layer 2 in addition to ETH 2.0. So ETH 2.0 is not going to necessarily be the thing that fixes all Ethereum's gas fee issues. Layer 2 is what's really going to help out with that in the short term, and it'll also for the long term. So we will have a layer 2 plus ETH 2 future ahead of us. But the short answer is layer 2 relatively soon on the grand scheme of things. Scaling relatively soon on the grand scheme of things, even if ETH 2.0 is not fully here. So this is 14th April is a big day. Yeah, Coinbase IPO. So what do I think about decentralized cloud storage projects? It depends. I don't think they're all created equally. I don't have strong opinions on each individual one. I don't keep up with every project that's hitting the market. I think decentralized file storage is a big deal, though. Somebody says, but ETH 2.0, what about the miners? Are they going to leave ETH? What if the miners will not vote for the new ETH 2.0 proof of stake? Yeah, I'm not really too worried about the miners, to tell you the truth. I just think the incentives are there for, I don't know. I mean, like, we've seen chain forks happen in the past. There's some real significant problems with ETH 2.0 chain versus potentially a chain that doesn't migrate, right? Well, first of all, we got all the leverage in the sense of ETH 2.0. We have a ton of validators. We have enough validators to essentially run ETH 2.0 now. We reached the threshold to do that for the beacon chain, because we have the beacon chain set up now. It's being developed in parallel to ETH 2.0. Now you could say, well, some of those people are just getting staking rewards and they'll make their validators go offline whenever they can get their money back, etc., etc. Yeah, that may be true to some degree, but I think the incentive rewards for staking are still good enough to incentivize people to jump back on that train if people leave, because that means the interest rates go up. If you can get like close to 20% on your ETH, I think people are going to do it. But anyways, the incentives are strong enough for the ETH2 chain to succeed. But if we fork for some reason, and the miners maintain an old chain, there's two problems with that. One is like, are people actually going to use that chain? Like, of course, people want free coins, but I think people are going to have just more faith in the ETH 2.0 chain than the old ETH 1 chain. That's one thing. You have a problem like more centralized services who have clearly built businesses on top of the Ethereum networks, them having a strong influence over which chain they want to choose. So think of something like USDC, for example. So it's a fiat-backed stablecoin. It's integrated with Coinbase, et cetera, exchanges. I mean, they're going to have a strong influence on which chain succeeds. You know what I mean? They're not going to just redeem their stable coins twice. So I just think there's a lot of problems with a valuable fork that remains behind. We'll see. I mean, you could have a world where that ETH is now worth something, but all the other smart contracts are ghost towns or something like that. You know what I mean? That people don't use anymore. Maybe people just won't use the old USDC, but the ETH will still be valuable. I don't know. It's hard to say. I don't think in any way that it really compromises the future of Ethereum 2.0 or makes it like I don't know. I don't see a strong reason why we think ETH 2.0 is not going to be successful because of a chain fork. You know what I mean? I just don't think it's going to happen. So any comments on SEC's market data infrastructure rules and the future of Chainlink? I don't have many comments on this. I literally just saw this come up this morning before I jumped on live stream today. Patrick over at Chainlink, someone that I know pretty well over there, who's helped me out quite a bit on my channel and also inside the blockchain mastery program. He did the Chainlink masterclass with me. He posted about this, and I just quickly asked him what was the sort of big picture here. Because I just really quickly scanned through the document. It was kind of confusing. Didn't make a ton of sense. But he said bottom line is, I'll just show you. He said bottom line is basically it gets easier to use financial data, especially equities data. So he posted the SEC document. I was like, hey, yeah, awesome, but what does this mean? And he said that was the point. So if you're watching Patrick, you get a shout out on today's live stream. Patrick also has a YouTube channel called Alpha Chain. You can go check that out if you want to. Somebody says ETH 2.0 coming in 2050. I think ETH will be here. ETH 2.0 will be here in 2050. I think by definition. Somebody sent any comments on Cardano smart contracts. I did see that post coming out yesterday, or maybe it was before yesterday, but I saw it yesterday about the Cardano smart contracts. They still don't have a formal release date for it. They just said summer, but I think they said that they would announce the actual release date in April. So we'll wait and see. So let's see here. Are there many blockchain jobs that are mixed with the traditional backend? Yes, lots of blockchain jobs are mixed with traditional backends. Somebody says, guys, I'm sorry, but ETH sucks. Somebody says London is still coming out in July, as far as we know. Yeah, as far as we know. There's an incentive for London to come at the proposed time. Somebody says, hey, man, how does it make sense when people say Ethereum is just like MySpace with the network effect, et cetera, tens of thousands of developers versus signed up people? Yeah, it's a good question. So I talk about this a lot on my channel. People use the analogies all the time to talk about like, Netscape versus Internet Explorer, MySpace versus Facebook. They use this as like sort of ammo to try to tear down ETH and say, like, we're going to build something better, faster. We have the second mover advantage, all this kind of stuff. I'm not saying it can't happen, right? Like, I want people to understand my position very clearly. Like, I've been working with Ethereum for a long time for a reason. Like, I was here in 2017 when there were lots of other ETH killers on the planet. And I was trying to figure out, like, because I'm a technologist, right? I was like, I'm a programmer. Trying to figure out, like, what do I want to invest my very precious time into mastering, okay? Went down the Ethereum road. That proved to be a really good choice. And we're seeing the same kind of stuff come out again, right? Basically, like, it's a marketing tactic. It's persuasion 101. And I'm not saying that I want to be very clear too. I'm not saying that no other smart contract platforms are going to work. That's not what I'm saying. I'm not saying that no other smart contract platforms can be successful or that no other smart contract platforms can be useful and gain users and have awesome community. That's not what I'm saying at all. I'm saying is Ethereum has been the clear front runner in this race for a long time, and I don't have any clear indication to think that's going to change anytime soon. So why is that important? Well, I'm going back to this question that I got here. Someone talking about the MySpace versus Facebook arguments, the Netscape versus Internet Explorer arguments. A lot of the ETH killers use those as a marketing tactic to try to position themselves as to why they're going to be better. It's persuasion 101. It's contrast bias. How do you make yourself look good? You try to make the other guy look bad. You see this type of thing in politics all the time. How many times do you see politicians never talk about what they're going to do, never talk about how awesome their thing is? They talk about how bad the other person is so that you get focused on that and all their flaws so that they can just do, it makes them look awesome, right? It happens all the time. So this is a very similar type situation. People talk about the fees are terrible for Ethereum. It's never going to work. It's too slow. It's too expensive. We've got this thing. It's way better. But they never show you like how their thing is actually better. And a lot of times they'll conceal the trade-offs that they're making under the hood that don't actually make it better in the long run than what Ethereum has today and also what Ethereum is working towards. So, or they may have a good plan for that, but they're not really upfront and honest and how insanely hard it is to build this entire network of developer tools, developers, applications, users on top of the blockchain that they, or the solution that they provided, okay? So you'll see this. And so why I bring this up is the question. MySpace versus Facebook, Internet Explorer versus Netscape. It's a flawed analogy for many reasons, but one of the biggest reasons is it's not, you don't have to just build a new MySpace or Facebook. You have to build a new internet. You have to build Netscape, you have to build Internet Explorer, and you have to build Facebook. You have to build three things. You have to build the apps, you have to build the ecosystem, you have to build the users. I mean, it's way harder. And it's also something that's never been done before. You're not talking about basically building a new web application. We have countless ways to build new apps. It's basically a solved problem. You're trying to put a rocket on the moon for the first time. Nobody's put a rocket on the moon yet, and you're claiming you can do it better when you're still over here in your laboratory, when someone else is like, like in space already, like building a new rocket ship that's about to land on the moon. That's a better analogy. Okay, so that's all I've got for today. As always, smash that like button down below for the YouTube algorithm. Subscribe to this channel if you haven't already. The latest videos out from learn about blockchain. If you like these videos, you're as fascinated with this technology as I am. How can you get your hands dirty, get started today? You can go to my YouTube homepage. You can find any of my free courses there, like Udemy courses, but they're totally free. If you like those, you want to take the next step, or hey, maybe you take a master shortcut entirely. I can show you how to become a blockchain master step-by-step, start to finish, over at dappuniversity.com/bootcamp. All right. You don't have to be an expert to get started today. I've helped people with zero coding experience become real-world blockchain developers in a matter of months. All right. So that's all I've got. Until next time, thanks for watching.